So I wanted to say just a few words about Sangha. The Dhamma is the truth about the way the world really works. It's an understanding or a set of ideas. And an understanding is not a tangible thing, but the Dhamma absolutely does affect the world. And the way it does so is through our actions. When we hear the Dhamma and when we understand it, internalize it, and practice it, it changes us and it changes how we act. We tend to act in more skillful ways. We act with more kindness and with less reactivity. We do less harm and we experience less suffering. Sangha, on the other hand, is the vehicle that allows the Dhamma to spread. It's the reason why we don't have to discover the Dhamma from first principles on our own. And the Dhamma spreads formally, like when someone is giving a talk or writes a book, but it also spreads informally too. Those changes that came about from studying the Dhamma, the kindness and the peace and the less reactivity, that spreads to others. People around you pick up on that, and it becomes easier for them to act according to the Dhamma too. Humans are social creatures. Our ancestors have been in tribal groups for millions of years. We're aware of the behavior of others around us at a very deep, fundamental level. There's a pull to act in the way that the people around us act. There's a kind of instinctive adoption of the behaviors that we see that feel helpful or skillful to us. And so when you come to Sangha, you are bringing the gift of the Dhamma as it is flowered in you, and you're sharing that with others. You share the wisdom you've gained, the peace and equanimity and joy that you've found, and you share that with everyone around you. You share that, and it helps them to move in the same direction. And even if you don't feel like you have much of that to offer, you don't have much of that in the present moment, you still have the intention to practice, and that's a great gift to give to someone. You share all of this just by your presence, by the way you show up in the world, just by spending time with your Dhamma friends. And when you come to Sangha, you're also receiving the gift of others' practice too. It makes your path easier. Sometimes I kind of think of this as something like a Dhamma force field. You might have played with magnets as a kid and taken one and brought it close to some iron filings and watched all those little iron filings align. That's how Sangha works. We walk around as these individual little Dhamma magnets and subtly helping everyone align towards the path to the end of suffering. And so when we come together as a group, as a Sangha, all of our little Dhamma force fields multiply, and we become this really powerful support to practice. So one of my aspirations for my time here is to foster Sangha between all of us at Dassanaya. I really hope to offer all of us a chance to connect with each other in meaningful ways. So I wanted to offer, I know some of you and some of you I don't know, but on the Dassanaya website there's a button that goes to my email, and I really welcome just hearing from you all. I'd be happy to chat about the Dhamma or just get to know each other. So I thank you for coming on. I thank you for coming here today and for being a part of Dassanaya. You all make Dassanaya better just by your presence. Sangha is the vehicle by which the Dhamma spreads, and I really thank you for being here today and for spreading the Dhamma. I think Dhammadipa had some words to say as well.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So wonderful to see you. Yes, yes. I lost my internet connection for a few moments there, so I missed just a little bit of what was happening. But before I begin my comments, I do want to go ahead and, as always, pay homage to the Buddha and the Triple Gem. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Bhutang dhammang sanghang namasami. So this is the autumn gathering, and this coming together of the community at this time of year is part of the traditional Buddhist calendar. It's traditional that communities come together every fall since the very beginning of the Sangha. It's a time when the community gets together to celebrate our mutual support for practice, our support for each other's practice. Whether we're lay or ordained, whether we are virtual or in person, whether we are engaged in any number of different ways, we are all part of this community. And as Stephen was mentioning, we are helping each other, supporting each other with our intention to practice. So, what is this practice that we're talking about? What is the practice that we're celebrating by being together here? There are many different ways to talk about it. Certainly, each person's experience of the path is personal, intimate, unique. And I want to suggest that one overarching theme of practice that we might be celebrating today is the request of mindfulness, the way that the practice invites us to be fully alive to the lives that we're living. To really know that we are completely fulfilled in each moment by the beautiful arising. And so, being alive to this life, choosing to turn our attention time and time again toward this life, this world, this experience that we're having, is really something that can help us to know that we aren't alone, even when we don't necessarily, even when we're not in each other's presence, we are in very, very fundamental ways connected. So we turn again and again to really know and see our experience. And this knowing and seeing is the way that wisdom is actually defined in the suttas. If we look at the texts that have come down to us with the teachings, we see that this knowing and seeing the way that things really are is a description of what happens when we practice. And that's where the name of this community came from. Dassanaya comes from that phrase, Yata Bhutanyana Dasana, to know and see things as they truly are. So this word Dassanaya means for the purpose of seeing, or in order to see. And it is a community. It's not about one person. It is about this whole gathering and the various ways in which we gather. And Buddhist, of course, seeing with the wisdom of the Dhamma, seeing and coming together right in the midst of the wisdom of the Dhamma. So that is where the name came from. And Dassanaya's our first gathering as a community was actually 2 years ago, the autumn gathering. So this is our third autumn gathering. Our first one was in 2021. Mm-hmm. And each time it's a joy, and each time it's a different group of people, and each time we come together in the midst of a different world. Yeah. But we know and we see as best we can how things truly are. And how they are is that we have this wonderful group of people. You can look around and see this wonderful group of people who share this beautiful practice, this beautiful aspiration. And know that the reason why this is so traditional is because there are some things that we can only really do together. That's why it has been done this way for thousands of years. Because while the practice is deeply personal and intimate and unique, nobody has ever woken up without a teacher or a community. Even the Buddha had his 5 companions and his teachers. And they would come together on the full moon. So typically this kind of event would happen on a full moon. The moon isn't full tonight, most likely, where you are. It's a few days away yet. But, I imagine them all that time ago. Why would they come together on the full moon? Because you could literally just look up in the sky and see when it was time to start walking to meet up with your friends. Right? If you were 2 days walk away or 2 hours walk away, you could just look up and know when it was time to get together. So now we have slightly more complex ways of knowing when we're going to be getting together. And what's shared is really unfathomable. What happens in community is something that is a bit mysterious. The alchemy of individual streams of karma coming together and revealing something profound. So it's a wonderful, wonderful day when I get to see all of you here, knowing that in some way you are making that choice. You are making the choice to know and see things as they are, to bring your authentic, sincere practice of seeing to this group, to this moment, to this place, wherever you are. And in particular, I just want to close by expressing my gratitude, because I feel that it's a beautiful gift to find a community, to know that there are folks like you in the world. And we are, in fact, supporting one another. I'm here in London and sending you metta every day, chanting for you. Talking to some of you. And actually, what I'm here doing is also dipping into that beautiful history of the Sangha as well. It has inspired people to paint and sculpt and sing and build incredible monuments. So we should know also that it's not just our small group. We are part of a much, much greater stream, a stream of awakening. So thank you for your part in that, and I hope that you feel deeply supported by Dassanaya Buddhist Community in all the ways that it shows up for you. And may you truly know and see things as they are. May you know your own wisdom and share it with all of us. Thank you. I just want to read one very short reading for you. And also, before the reading, I want to thank Stephen and Kylie and Dana and everyone who has put in quite a bit of effort in order to make this gathering possible. So thank you all for doing that. And it's just a very short reading of a sutta. This is Connected Discourse 45.2. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Tathagata was dwelling among the Sakyans, where there was a town of Sakyans named Nagaraka. And then the Venerable Ananda approached the Tathagata. And having approached, he paid homage, sat down to one side, and said to him, Venerable Sir, this is half of the spiritual life. That is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. Not so, Ananda, not so. This is the entire spiritual life, Ananda. That is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. When a spiritual practitioner has a good friend, a good companion, a good comrade, it is to be expected that they will develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path. And by following, and I'm skipping a little section there in which he enumerates what are the aspects of the path, and then by following this method to Ananda, it may be understood how the entire spiritual life is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. By relying on me as a good friend, Ananda, me meaning the Buddha, being subject to birth or freed from birth, being subject to aging or freed from aging, being subject to death or freed from death, being subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, despair, or freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, and despair. By this method, Ananda, it can be understood how the whole spiritual life is good friendship, good comradeship, good companionship. So thank you all for the good friendship.